Prompt number 3. What are some tips for my day-to-day life? I will start with the quick easy ones, and then I'll get into how I organize and structure my week to get maximum tasks done and take advantage of my most productive hours of the day. So I'll start with these quick little ones. Muscle weakness. I had both numbness and muscle weakness. So I couldn't feel if I was holding the cup tightly enough or not. And because I had the muscle weakness, I felt like, oh, I'm squeezing, but actually I wasn't, because my muscles weren't working very well. So I would drop cups and spill things all the time, until someone shared this with me. When you're holding a cup, hold it with your pinky finger underneath. There, let that work for you. So yeah, that when I'm feeling particularly weak, I just start doing that automatically. For the whole walking, I actually have 2 canes. One is a collapsible cane. I can fold it up, put it in my bag, and then when I'm out and about after, let's say half an hour of walking and I'm just getting too exhausted, I can take out the cane and then just start walking with that. It's also useful because the whole invisible illness thing, like when you walk onto a bus, you look fine, so people aren't necessarily going to get out of the priority seating to let you sit even though you need it. So the cane helps with that too. So visual, visible cue that lets people know, hey, this person is struggling a little bit, and hopefully they'll do the right thing and let you have the seating. But yeah, if you don't have the cane, it's more difficult for people to know that you do need to be sitting. So the cane helps with that too. And, take the elevator. So just because you have energy at the start of the day, it doesn't mean you should take the stairs, because your energy is limited. If you know spoon theory, save your spoons as much as you can. So right now, because I'm in a weird, I'm getting fatigued daily, I am hard on my spoon theory, and I have to really think about how much energy I have and where do I want to spend that energy. You will not see me taking the stairs right now, because that's energy that I would be wasting. If there's an option to take an elevator, I will take the elevator, because taking the stairs is just, I'm spending spoons on that when I could be saving those spoons to be doing lab work or to be doing whatever else there is. So just because, you're feeling good in the morning, for me, the morning is my good time. Just because I'm feeling good in the morning doesn't mean I need to take the stairs. I'm feeling good, I'll take the stairs. You might want to save the spoons there. There's no shame in taking the elevator. That's what it's there for. So one of the biggest things that I would recommend is knowing yourself. So after 15, I know I said that they're really unpredictable, but after about 15 years of dealing with chronic fatigue, I'm much better able to see the warning signs of when it's coming. Not necessarily what's caused it, but I can recognize feelings in myself when the fatigue is going to come, or when I'm getting a certain type of pain. So this is a weird thing about pain. When you get a lot of pain, you start to notice the difference between different types of pain. I can tell when I'm having shoulder pain because of a muscle issue, and when I'm having shoulder pain because of a stomach issue. It sounds weird, but I can tell the difference. I can tell the difference when certain parts of my stomach are sore. I have about probably 10 different types of stomach pain, and I can tell what they are, and I can tell how things are going to deteriorate based on what type of pain it is, how strong it is. What's the timing between the severe pangs of pain? Is it sharp pain and then it's dull for a bit and then sharp again, or is it sharp and then nothing and then sharp again? When you live in your own body, you get to understand your own body. So that is one thing that I would highly recommend, is really pay attention, really make sure you understand your body, and then work around it. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't get mad at your body for it not working the way you want it to work. Just work with it. It's what you've got. Learn it, respect it, and find ways around it. So I know that typically these days, I get 2 bouts of fatigue per day. I'll get my first bout around 10 or 11 a.m., and then I'll get a second bout around 4 p.m. Sometimes I only get 1 bout of fatigue, and if I'm only getting 1 in a day, it'll probably be around noon. Some days I don't get any fatigue at all, which is super weird, or sometimes I'll only get like a weird sort of tired and high anxiety type day. So it varies, but usually I get those 2 bouts of fatigue, and so I plan my day around that. And if I don't get the fatigue, fantastic, I'll just keep working on my tasks. The other thing is that my most productive times are in the morning. So I'll typically wake up naturally around 5 or 6 a.m. Naturally, I'm very alert first thing in the morning. Like as soon as I wake up, I'm good to go. But when I'm on the Vizan, I find I'm very groggy in the mornings, and it takes me a bit longer to kind of wake up and get functional. But within usually an hour of waking up, that's my peak time. I'm highly efficient. My brain is working well. I'm able to process things and do physical activity, that type of thing. As the day goes on, that energy dwindles relatively quickly. So I have probably about 2 hours of peak performance per day. And then I can maybe get 3 hours of moderate performance, and then it's very difficult. So I have to squeeze as much as I can in those 2 first hours, and then have some other tasks for those other 3 hours. So what I do is I plan my week in advance. So my Sundays are my Monday. The first task I do on a Sunday is I plan my week. I go through my calendar and I take a look and I see what meetings do I have that week. I categorize all of my tasks. So I bundle them and I put them into like categories. I have 3 categories of tasks. I have my non-negotiables, I have my brain dump tasks, and then I've got my highlights. So the non-negotiables are the tasks that are high value. So these are the tasks that allow me to maintain the identity of a highly functioning person. So that means if I have a Zoom meeting, if I've got lab meeting, if I've committee meetings, that type of stuff. If I've got a meeting, I have to be there. An able-bodied person would be there, and so I should be there. Those are my high-value non-negotiables. Also deadlines. If there's a deadline, I have to submit something by a certain time. That's a high-value non-negotiable. It's stuff that allows me to feel secure in my financial security. So if I were to just not go to whatever meetings, my respectability and my trustworthiness would start to decrease, which could put my financial security in jeopardy. And to me, it's very important that doesn't happen. That's like my primary goal, is to make sure that I'm safe and secure financially. So these non-negotiable tasks are tasks that will allow me to maintain my financial security. So of course, if I miss one meeting, it's not going to be the end of the world, but it's sort of a system that I've put in place that decreases my decision fatigue. It decreases my need to evaluate things. If I see it's a non-negotiable, that means I got to go do that. My energy of the day must be saved to do that task above all else. So if I wake up and I'm like, oh, this is a bad day, I am not feeling well, I'm not going to get many tasks done at all today, then I'm going to do nothing except for my non-negotiable. The next one under that for priority wise would be highlights, with the last one being the brain dump. I'll talk about the brain dump first. The brain dump is where I put all of the things that are in my head. I just put them all down on a list. This can be anything from, oh yeah, there's some bell peppers in the fridge that need to be chopped up. Oh, I really want to make a quilt. That's been on my mind lately, make a quilt. Oh, I got to write this email for this person. I have to organize this meeting for that. I've got to inquire about this committee, just all the tasks, oh, I got to count some slides for my diatom research. Oh, I've got to, do an interview for such and such. I put everything down, whether it's a super important task or if it's sometimes I'll play StarCraft on there as a task item because I know I like to play StarCraft and that's just a task. So I put that in there too. I'm very careful not to filter my brain dump. So I never think, oh, should I write this down? Oh, that's not important enough. I shouldn't write that down. I don't do that because I know that if my brain delivered to me this thought, it's because it's flying around in there and needs to land. So I read this in a book that thoughts are like planes that are just circling up top and need to land. When you write them down, that lands the plane. If you decide not to write it down, your brain sort of hangs on to it and is like, oh, I should remember this. And then it's just a plane that's flying over and over in your brain. and it's taking up airspace. So when you have a chronic illness, especially one that has like brain fog and fatigue, you want to save as much brain space and capacity as absolute possible, because you have limited ones to begin with. So having a plane that's taking up 1% of my brain power, I want to save that 1% because maybe I only got 20% to begin with, while someone has like 50. So everything that comes out to my brain when I'm doing a brain dump comes out onto the paper. Now, it does take some experience and time to learn what type of thoughts need to be written where. So there's certain thoughts that are better to go in a diary or a journal. There's some thoughts that are better to go on my brain dump agenda list. Some are better as notes for research. So there's different places for brain dumps. But with time, you learn what needs to be written down, because it'll bother you for the next week, or you'll forget about it, and that's gonna be bad news. And what goes where. So that's something that you develop over time. I'm still developing it, but it's definitely a good thing to have. So I've got my non-negotiables, and then I've got my brain dump. And then what I do is I have got my agenda planned out there, and when I'm sitting down on a Sunday, I got all my non-negotiables. They're the first ones, and they're in a block. And then I put my highlights into the week. So the one page is just my brain dump, and the next page is my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And on that page, I select from my brain dump, and I choose highlights to put into my agenda. And the highlights are going to be tasks that will both make me feel productive and make me feel good, and will serve me and improve my life for next week, next year, whatever. And that is an important balance to learn, that it's not just tasks that are going to serve you well tomorrow that you need to do. That you need to do tasks that are going to serve you well today and make you feel like you had a good day, like you were productive and successful that day. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Say I have some bell peppers in the fridge and they're starting to go bad, and I need to chop them up and freeze them to preserve them. I know that personally, food waste is a huge issue for me. For whatever reason, I'm not gonna go down that road. Food waste bothers me. If I have to throw out food, I feel like a failure, and I have a strong emotional reaction to it. I know that I have this. So if on Sunday I realize, okay, those need to be done, that's going to be a good task for me to do right on Sunday or on Monday. Because otherwise, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, each day that I don't do it, I'm going to feel shitty. I'm going to feel shitty every time I look in the fridge. But if I do it right away, it's going to take me maybe 5-10 minutes to do it on a Sunday. It's an easy task. Then I'm saving myself that feeling of misery for the next 4 days, and I'm feeling really good about myself that day. Oh, I got that done. There's no waste. Oh, I feel good. I know that I'm going to have that emotional response to this 5-10 minute task. So I sort of stagger those in as necessary into my schedule. Now this whole processing of deciding what value tasks go where, this is a good point to describe my architect self and my worker self. So I sort of view myself with these two sides. When I have full brain capacity and full processing capacity, and I'm good to go, I'm energized and awake, I can be in my architect self. So my architect self has high processing capabilities and is able to look at all these tasks and see the big picture and evaluate what are my dreams for the next 10 years, and what do I need to do this year, what do I need to do this semester, and how can I break down this big task of writing a manuscript into bite-sized pieces that my worker self will be able to do every week. And I'm able to do these whole big plans. I don't spend much time as an architect because a lot of especially right now, because my fatigue is just so bad, I have to, most of my time, 80% of my day is spent as a worker. Now, in my worker self, I do not have to waste any brain capacity on thinking about the big picture and is this going to be a high value task versus a low value task, or I don't have to worry about any of that. My architect self has already taken care of that. All I have to do as a worker is look at what is under my list for Monday. Oh, okay, I have a non-negotiable at 4 p.m. I need to save energy for that. I'm not feeling all that great, but oh, I've got a task here that says I have to chop up some bell peppers. Just go do that. I don't think about, do I feel like doing it? I don't think about any of that. I'm just like, that's a task on there. I need to cross it out. Just go get the task done. And then I go and I do it. And then I cross it off. And then I look at another task. Oh, yeah, okay, just go do that task. So I'm not thinking about things when I'm in the worker self. I just trust that my architect self knew what she was doing when she put all these tasks on my list, and I just go and I do them. Though my worker isn't looking like at the big picture, I'm always evaluating using that internal monologue, internal voice, what's my energy level like? Yeah, I could definitely take 5 minutes to go get this task done, because the reward, the value of this task will be crossing it off my list of highlights. So, okay, I can go do that. Oh, I finished the dishes and I washed 4 dishes and I still have some energy. You know what, let's just finish the dishes. Okay, I finished the dishes and I still have a little bit of energy. Look at my list. Okay, well, I only have one more task until all my highlights are done, which means I can rest like the rest of the day. So yeah, I'll just finish my last task and I'll just, push through it, and then I'll be done for the day. So I'm always looking at my energy level and deciding, is it, should I do this or not? But my architect hopefully had set it up so that the tasks are quick and easy, like 5 to 10 minute tasks, or maybe 15-minute tasks that will be relatively easy for my worker self to do. And it's this weird sort of relationship, this weird mind frame that I have. But it's important to note here that my architect self is never angry with my worker self. Now, years ago, I would get upset with myself. Oh, it was so easy. Why didn't I just go do it? That's not a thing that I tell myself ever anymore. My architect self is always making sure that the tasks that are put on there will be doable by my worker self. And if the next time I'm doing my architect work and I'm in that mind frame and I see that, a lot of the tasks didn't get done, then I know that I need to dial it back some more, and then I got to tweak the way how I'm structuring my tasks and fix all of that up. So there's always a it's a good relationship, I would say, between my worker and my architect. They want to take care of each other, right? My architect wants to give tasks to my worker that are doable and will make my worker self feel good, and my worker wants to do the tasks for my architect self because my worker self trusts that I know what's going on here. So it's, maybe it's a weird way of thinking about things, but I find that it's very helpful for when I have fatigue, because when I have fatigue, I can't think. I can probably sometimes do things like manual cut up, peppers or whatever, especially if it's just for 5 minutes. I can do that and then go sit down, take a nap or whatever it is. So it's just, I found it to be very valuable that because when I'm high functioning, I set up this system, then I can just follow it blindly when I'm not feeling well and when I'm having the fatigue and when I'm really tired. That way I can still get things done, I can still complete tasks, and I can still be productive, despite being very fatigued and tired and not being able to process mentally whether these tasks should be done now or should be done later. Okay, so those are my 3 levels. I try to get all my highlights done. So my non-negotiables for each day must be done. My highlights, I'm aiming to get them done, but if they need to be moved to the next day, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Because I've got my non-negotiables done, I still feel safe and secure and okay. I also front load my week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is when I pack on most of my tasks, most of my highlights, and I only put maybe 1 or 2 highlights on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That way, whatever didn't get done Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then I can move them into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I did get them all done, which is fantastic, then I can take more tasks from my brain dump list and put them into the week and get those done. I can also add tasks to my brain dump whenever, like Wednesday, something comes up. Add more stuff to my brain dump. And then each week I just start the whole process over again. On Sunday I sit down, start my brain dump list, make sure I'm not dropping the ball on anything. And this is a big deal because when you have a type of job where you got lots of committee meetings, you've got lots of emails you got to do, you're organizing things, there's so much opportunity to drop the ball when you're working on a lot of projects. So having this system, writing everything down, not not relying on your brain. When you've got a chronic illness, especially with brain fog and fatigue, you cannot rely on your brain. You have to write it down. And this will help you feel good about yourself because you're not dropping the ball, and it will make you feel able-bodied because you're taking care of things. So you know, write it down and make sure that when I always start with my brain dump, and then I go back and then I look if there's any balls that were dropped from last week and then add those as needed and then put them into my agenda. So that is the system that I use to remain productive, to make sure that I'm still having results and I've got an output to provide, even though my time allotted is not the same as an able-bodied person. So maybe it takes a regular person 8 hours to do all these tasks, but it takes me maybe 3 hours to do because I've put in all these systems. And again, you know, read Tim Ferriss's book on like how to, you know, get your tasks done faster. But yeah, anyway, that is my system. Right? That's my spiel on that. That's my weird little system that I use to, you know, be productive, even though most of my day is me being sick and not having enough energy to breathe. Hopefully that made sense to you. Feel free to disregard if you think I'm just weird, but that's what works for me. And it takes time. Like I said, it's not something overnight that all of a sudden I started implementing. I implemented it in little bits as I went, and it just evolved into this system that I'm using now. And it's still evolving, right? I just finished learning Notion, and now Notion is my second brain, and I put all of my notes and my stuff in there, and yeah, it's definitely helpful. So explore, because there are ways of managing, especially if you're like partially functional, there are ways to work around it and to still have a very fulfilling life and productive life. But you know, you can't play by the rules of the able-bodied person because you're not in the same game as them. And I'm going to leave it at that and probably go take a nap. Okay, that's it for today. I guess I will see you in the next video. Oh, the cat video. I'll show you guys what the cat's up to as I do every video. Hey. Yeah, okay. All right, bye.